Everybody smiles in the same language. A smile, let your light come shining through.
Welcome to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast. I'm Sandra M., coming to you from Santa Fe, New Mexico, the land of enchantment. I interview people from all parts of the world about what happiness means to them. What are they in love with? In each episode, we'll give you a key to happiness to include in your life. And of course, we'll play a happy tune from my live Celebrate Happiness Roadshow.
A smile doesn't cost you anything.
Today we're talking with Red Feather Woman, a.k.a. Rose Red Elk, originally from Fort Peck Reservation, located in eastern Montana. Red Feather Woman is an inspirational Native American storyteller, producer, author, artist, and creator of fine art dream catchers. And she has won many awards and toured internationally and throughout the United States. To quote Red Feather Woman, "My most important duty is the preservation of an ancient culture, inspiring and giving hope to all people." Her latest album is Keepers of the Wisdom Healing Stories and Meditations. Welcome, Red Feather Woman. I'm very excited to talk with you about happiness and love.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here. How are you doing today?
Well, it's beautiful weather here in Santa Fe, and I know you're up in Colorado right now.
I am.
What's it like up there?
Actually, it's not too bad. It's overcast, but at least it's not that Arctic cold that we had a few weeks ago. It's temperate, so it's nice. It's a nice day for today.
Oh, good. Well, a wonderful day for a conversation. And, of course, I have to start out with the question I ask everybody at the beginning of these episodes that we do on happiness, and that is, what makes you happy in life? What is your passion? Tell me your happiness story. And I know you have one because you're a storyteller.
That's right. Wow. Well, happiness means to me being able to do our heart's desire. And not all of us on this earth walk are able to do that. So I found my passion through storytelling and through writing and through music. I'm also a musician of sorts. I've written songs about the stories. So my happiness is the ability to be able to share the culture, the stories, and even those that I've written myself with the audiences. And the very wonderful thing about what I do is my audiences are all ages, given, the age factor. I mean, little ones, 1-year-old to like 3 or 4-year-olds, I don't really tell baby stories. I try, but it doesn't always come across. So my audiences are pretty much, 8 to 9-year-olds all the way up to adults, and of all venues. I do all kinds of venues. But to be able to, what makes me happy is to be able to share this and to look into the eyes of the audience or to hear afterward how they were touched or what it meant to them, or helping them remember their own childhood, a sense of dignity to their own culture. Because one of the stories that I tell is about the medicine wheel colors. It's a Plains Indian story of red, black, yellow, and white, which are the color called medicine colors. And each one represents the race of the nations: red man, black man, yellow man, and white man, from which all races evolve from. So that's an incredible story that I've taken all around the world to all ages and all audiences. And I also teach a beautiful song called Keepers of the Earth that I wrote that actually is a music video now that PBS 12 in Denver produced that you can see on YouTube or my website. So I would have to say,
let's take a moment here and just mention your website, which is
redfeatherwoman.com.
Which is
redfeatherwoman.com.
redfeatherwoman.com. Okay, wonderful. All right. So then you were saying
that the story.
I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you?
Yeah, but I don't remember what I was saying.
That's what I understand that the Medicine Wheel Colors was a story, and then you had a song that you wrote, and how I was just wondering how that song and that particular story of the Medicine Wheel Colors affects your audiences. Does it uplift them? Do they touch? Does it touch their heart in a way that brings everybody together?
Yes, absolutely, because it helps us to remember what's going on in the earth today with the pollution, and because the story was inspired by an elder that I was able to listen to in a national conference for the American Indian Science and Engineering Society. While I was in college at Texas A&M University, I was able to travel for these leadership conferences and national conferences for ACES, American Indian Science and Engineering Society. And I was inspired by watching an elder talk about how they were damming the rivers. Now, this was in the early 90s, and how they were deforesting the forest and not replenishing. And he cried at this podium, and he said it was up to the youth to make a difference because we were keepers of the earth. And so I was inspired by this simple tune, and it's interesting how these things evolve that take a life of their own, that I never intended this to be like a trademark for me, that I would be able to share this throughout the world. And what happens when the audience sing it, I mean, it varies, of course. Some audiences will sing, some don't. The children usually do, and sometimes they don't. It's based on how many's in the audience and what's going on around. But the essence of the song talks about the birds, the fish, and this elder crying and looking to the youth to make a difference, and that we were all keepers of the earth. And the audience will sing a chorus. So what it does, I've had children say that they cried because it was sad, because the birds couldn't had to deal with the pollution, and then others are uplifted because they realize that they can make a difference. Maybe not, because we can't really, one person can save the world, but many people with the lift of consciousness, of awareness of who we are as human beings can make a difference. And so I believe that my happiness comes from being able to do this, because I left corporate America in 1997 to pursue the arts. And who does that at 40 years old? 3 degrees later and 4 children. And one. So
that's inspiring. That's inspiring because you're following your heart. You're following your dreams. You're following your passions. And this is inspiring to our listeners. So tell us how that came about.
Well, basically,
you left corporate America.
Right. To back up just a few inches here, I uprooted from College Station, Texas A&M University, in 1995 upon graduating in August, and I was able to sell my home there and then move to Louisville, Colorado. My whole purpose was to be able to go to CU Law School. I planned on being a lawyer and studying Indian law or tribal law, understand, everything. And that great mind that was their professor was Vine Deloria Jr., a brilliant mind in Indian countries, written a lot of papers and treaty.
Could you say his name again? His name?
Vine.
Could you say his name again?
Sure, Vine, Vine, Deloria Jr. He was a professor at the law school at CU, and I was inspired by him and the facts, some of the things that I had taken on myself while at the university, that I really felt like this is what I was supposed to do. and everything flowed for me to move to Louisville. And then after I got here, after I got to Colorado, I realized that CU was one of the toughest law schools to get into. And not because it's the best, but it's because it's Boulder, Colorado. Lots of fun places in Colorado for students. But you have 180 seats open for the law school, and you have 2,000 applications. That's tremendous and very, very hard to get in. So with that, I realized I didn't know if I was going to do that after I got here. And I had to go to work, so I went to work for IBM, and, to support my family. And I was very, very, very unhappy there, extremely unhappy. And my oldest daughter, it must have been a year into this, my oldest daughter, who lives in Austin, Texas now, was approached by an Asian. She was Korean, I believe, and to me, she was a medicine woman. She was very psychic. She was very in tune. She had a nail parlor in Boulder at that time, and my daughter would get her nails done. And this woman saw her in the mall and pulled her in and told her that she had to talk to her about me, her mother. And my daughter was like floored, like, oh my gosh, what? And she said, I've had visions of your mother, and you need to listen and you need to tell her.
Join Sandra M. for her live performance of the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, a toast to love and happiness in life, an uninhibited musical adventure guaranteed to awaken your happiness vibe. Celebrate with upbeat rhythms, love songs, and fun stories, some told by you in the audience. Sandra's musical guest and accompanist, Todd Lowry, sings his hopeful and happy originals. To book Sandra M. and the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, email sandra@sandramcknight.com. Celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
And this preceded readings for several weeks. I would get a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But this woman knew things about me that no one knew. There's no way. And she also told her I was very, very unhappy, that I was not living my path. So I looked at Misty, is my daughter's name, and what do you mean? And she goes, well, she said you're supposed to do what you did in Texas. Well, this floored me. It was like, what? Texas? What? Go back to school? Oh, my gosh, no. And she goes, no, Mom, what did you do while you were at school? And then I remembered. I started the first Native American, or not myself, but co-founded the Native American Student Association there and ACES chapter. And we had a drum group, we had dancers, we had me, and we gigged all over Bryant College Station telling these stories, and I was playing all the music and educating. And she said, you're supposed to do this. This is your path, that you have stories to tell and write and music to help heal the world, help heal the earth, help heal people of all colors. And I was just kind of floored. I really was. I had to think about it, like, oh my gosh. And she said that she started telling me how long it was going to take. She said that who I would meet, that there would be difficulties, but eventually I would be successful and I would cross over into the mainstream sector. I would go into writing in the media for televisions and stories. And that's kind of where I'm at now. But to back up, I had a little money put back, but I didn't know anyone in the music business. So the short story is, I took the plunge, and on June 26, 1997, I left corporate America to pursue the arts. And then it took about 6 years to finish the first album after losing $20,000 and a year and a half worth of work. I had to put it down because I thought, this is not my path. Why am I such a fool? Why did I listen to the spirits? Why did I listen to this? And I remember demanding to the Creator and to my spirit helpers to they needed to do something right then, like that day, because I was going to have to go to work at a real job, which I could, but I was heartbroken because I had lost all my savings and lost a year and a half worth of work in a studio. It was just devastating. And that very day, and I remember crying in my meditation and pleading, and then I had to let it go. And I went back to work. And while I was at work, I was working a temp job. I called home to check my voicemail, and I had received a message from a woman who had seen me do a little bit of a story and a song at a national conference, a leadership conference, several years ago, and remembered me saying that I was going to do an album. Well, I remember that time that she saw me, but I think I said, well, I might someday do an album. I never really was committed to it because I was going to be a lawyer, right? But this is what she remembered. So she calls me up and she tells me, she goes, have you finished your album yet? And I said, no, not yet. She goes, and I didn't dare tell her the adventure I had with all that. But I said, no, not yet. She goes, well, they've made me the director for the 25th Annual Symposium for the Iowa State Native American Symposium here in Iowa, and I would like for you to headline our concert that night. And I just sat there like, oh, my gosh. And she paid me a very good honorarium and told me they'd pay all my travel, and it was about 6 or 7 months out, gave me plenty of time to prepare. And I was just elated, and I hung up the phone, and I immediately gave thanks to my Creator and to my helpers, because that very day I had pleaded and demanded that something happen right then, or I would leave and go about a different path. So I never really doubted after that. I mean, I've had some pretty hard times as an artist. It's feast or famine at times, and having to work temp jobs and make ends meet. But the universe is supporting what I do, and I'm still doing this. Here it is, many years later, 4 albums, 2 awards, international, and now I'm actually going to the Smithsonian in New York City next week. Actually, I think it's next week or the week after that for a storytelling performance there with another storyteller. So my world has expanded, and I seem to have, reached thousands and thousands of people through spoken word live performances and, recording. But it gives me such great joy to be able to touch people's lives in ways. And, even now later on, as when I set up, I do the big Denver March Powwow, which is at the Coliseum here in Denver, 47 years, I think, or it's one of the largest ones in the country. I've been setting up and selling my art and my CDs and books there for about 15 years. And I have people, sometimes I get pretty discouraged, because things aren't happening the way I need them to, or I don't have enough money. And I will inevitably, somebody will come up, or many will come up. And I've had children come up and tell me what a fan they are of mine and how much I've helped them with the stories. And then teachers come and, people tell me that I've, making a difference. And so it gives me a shot in the arm, like, okay, you can't quit now. You got to keep moving and, touching as many and more as you can to share the stories, And
I have a question because your culture is so rich, and the way many of the things you referred to in your story here, you just say them as if it's nothing, but I would love to ask you, you said living my path. That concept is, I think, very important, and it's also very connected to a Native American sensibility. And the other thing you said, well, I spoke to my spirit helpers.
Right.
You explain what a spirit helper is. Yeah. I mean, people go, okay, she's got spirit helpers. How do I get a couple of spirit helpers? Right. But I think it's very much
that makes me laugh.
Way of looking at the yes. Well, right. I mean, it comes out of the way you look. So could you explain that a little bit? Okay.
Well, spirit helpers are spirit guides. New Ageism has taken it to a different level. But the concept is still the simplicity of who they are and where they come from. The way I understand it, we as individuals all have spirit helpers and guides on our earth walk. Some Christians will call them guardian angels, and I think guardian angels is a good word as well, but they're not necessarily angels, although I do believe in angels. And but the spirit helpers are, sometimes they come different. Sometimes they're with us for their entire lifetime, and sometimes we have different guides that will come in when we have a need or a special problem, or we're going through a period of darkness or uncertainty. A spirit guide will come in to help us and guide us through that. So if they're kind of like intercessors too, they actually, because the great mystery that we call God in my culture, in the Lakota way, the great mystery is all-encompassing, just incredible energy. And so these spirit helpers will intercede to the great mystery, but we're all connected to him. Each one of us have this light within us connected to the great mystery. And my ancestors understood that long before quantum physics has proven that living things have energy. We always knew that. I was brought up teaching that all things are connected, and every living thing has a spirit. And so we can see this is the more that we become aware, and with their help, with our spirit helpers, I mean, you can talk to them, meditate with them. I talk to mine all the time, and one of the things that I know that's important is to always give gratitude towards them, no matter what it is, and that's giving gratitude to the great mystery. That kind of thing. The gratitude and being grateful is imperative to being happy.
We invite you and yours to an intimate 14-day happiness journey to Bhutan, the lost kingdom of happiness, coming in May of 2024. Experience the magnificent beauty, magic, and mystery of this ancient culture that calculates the gross national happiness of its people. Happiness, Bhutan style, is an adventure of a lifetime. Go to BhutanLostKingdomTours.com and click on Special Tour Packages to download your itinerary for Being in Love with Life, a happiness journey to Bhutan with Miss Sandra Mcknight. And remember, celebrate happiness with Sandra M.
Yes, because even when we're not happy or we're having a down day or something we're disappointing, what I've learned, and this is something that my people did too, my ancestors, and it's just a simple reality of giving gratitude for what you do have, no matter what it is. I mean, you may not have all the money, you can't pay that bill right now, but you will. But you just ask for help, and then it'll find its way to you. But being grateful is the key, because once you concentrate on the gratitude that you have within your life, your family, whatever, how small and minute, it makes a huge difference and shifts your consciousness. So this is what you want to raise your vibrations and raise your spirit to reach the higher levels of understanding, awareness. So we won't be so caught up in materialism, because materialism is only temporary. You can't take any of those millions or a dollar, whatever, when you leave the earth. You can't take any of that with you. Right. But what you do take,
you can't take it with you. Right?
That's right. But what you can take with you is your consciousness, your spirit, your heart consciousness. And if that reeks of love and gratitude, then so be it, and even better for you as you move on into the spirit world.
I love the concept you just talked about, the heart consciousness.
Yes.
And you take that heart consciousness with you. And my graphic for this happiness, the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow, is a happy heart. And it's beautiful, sort of reddish pink happy heart with yellow butterflies going off the side of it, so that we're transforming every day as we go through our life keeping our happy heart and letting it go into the world. That's what that graphic actually symbolizes. And I just think that the Native American approach, as you said before, we understood quantum physics and all the scientific understanding of the world that they are now talking about. Your people understood the great mystery, which was, right. I love the concept, incredible energy. Everything it boils down to energy, period. And when we leave the planet, we are still energy. We just have no body. Do you feel that is true?
Absolutely.
Or not?
Yes. No, that is absolutely true. Absolutely true. And because there is no death, really, the death of the body, but the spirit continues on and on. And the Lakota people also believe in reincarnation, of coming back. And I find that interesting. But, that's a whole different topic with reincarnation, so we won't go there.
Exactly. But you have brought up so many wonderful ideas, so many wonderful, I don't want to put a word to it, but you're talking about heart consciousness, which is beautiful. You're talking about spirit helpers. You're talking about the great mystery, which is incredible energy, living your path. All of this, to me, adds up to being a happy person, a happier person, a person who feels joy in their heart and who can move through life with a vision of not only being happy themselves, right, and being able to just be at peace with themselves, but also to share that with their family and their community, and one by one. So the simplest thing to do is to smile, right? And I just think it's telling stories to children from 8 years old, right on up, and having such a connection with your audiences and your people. Going back to that story that you said, medicine wheel colors involves, did you say black people, red people,
yellow and
white people, and you?
Right, and the wonderful thing that has evolved from this that I didn't teach up until recently about the medicine colors is that I realized that we don't have pure bloods, very few pure-blooded ethnicities, not very on this earth anymore, in the whole world. You may in third world countries, but in the whole scheme of things, we're intermarrying, and that's okay. But the beauty is that each one of those, like I have red, yellow, and white. My grandson has red, yellow, black, and white. So he has all four colors. And this is when I discovered, oh my goodness, and I tell the audiences this too. I said, you may not be pure blood, but whatever you relate to or whatever you gravitate to as far as culturally speaking, is the one that you would want to pay attention to. But you have all of the colors of the medicine wheel, or some of these colors, and those gifts, because each one has a gift. See, the white man is keeper of the fire, the yellow man is keeper of the air, the black man is keeper of the water, and the red man is keeper of the earth. So, I do and tell everyone how we truly are all keepers of the earth, though, because it is our responsibility, because she gives us everything that we have, always has. And always will, as long as we honor her. And then that's the problem with the society, is that human beings have forgot to honor the earth who gives us life.
Yes.
And so this awareness is not just with me. I'm just a tiny little grain of sand in the universe that has a little light that I'm shining. But there's not just me. There's so many others. They're doing so many different things to try to help raise that consciousness and be aware of Earth. Compared to when I first started this in the 90s, tremendous strides have been taken with pollution and awareness, and I don't think it's too late, but we still have a long, long way to go. Not only to Earth, because if we could take advantage or take the precious care of the Earth, then that ripples into taking precious care of our human beings, no matter what the color is. It's so important. And see, my ancestors understood this, the color thing, because we saw the white people come over from the seas long before they actually got here. The visionary, the medicine people saw all of this, and the simplicity of our culture and how we lived is basic to all human beings if they will choose that path. But we've forgotten. So it's people like me and good programming and good podcasts and just good human beings out there, no matter whether you're a performer, or whatever it is you do can make a difference, being kind to one another, because that's what we're here for, is to take care of each other and the earth.
Thank you so much, Red Feather Woman. You have been a fabulous, fabulous guest. Before we go, I would like to just ask you, number one, is there a place on your website, redfeatherwoman.com, where people can listen to the Medicine Wheel Color story?
I have samples of my work. Now, I'm on all the major platforms, so if you have Spotify or iTunes or iHeart or any of those platforms that are streaming, you can put in Red Feather Woman and all of my albums will come up. And they will tell you the way that they're listed. It'll tell you if it's a story or a song by the end of the title. So all my work that's been recorded is up for streaming. And you can also order my CDs if you want a hard copy from my website. But yes, you have samples, but I don't think the complete story is not on there. You'll have to listen to that or buy an album or buy the story or that kind of thing, or hire me for a performance. I am out there in all kinds of things.
Yes. I'm hoping that we'll be able to perform together, and when I get the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow produced, and that will be wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So I think we've come to the end. Did you have any last words of wisdom for us?
No, but thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your podcast, and I want all people to know that you all are special and have gifts of your own, and just look within and call upon your spirit helpers to guide and direct you. They will. They definitely will. You just have to be aware and watch and listen. And visit my website at redfeatherwoman.com.
Yes, redfeatherwoman.com. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Weekly Keys to Happiness number 18. Create a self-care ritual. It's easy to forget self-care in our fast-paced world. Since your body is your temple and carries your thoughts, passions, and spirit through the world, it deserves a little TLC. No matter what you enjoy, it relaxes you. Make time for it. Put it in your planner if you must, but do it.
Newsflash! Please sign up for your personal copy of our Keys to Happiness at SandraMcknight.com. Thank you for tuning in to the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow. And if you enjoyed the conversation, please help spread the word by sharing this podcast with your friends and family. Before I go, I'd like to thank today's guest, Red Feather Woman, for sharing her happiness story. And to share your happiness story on the Celebrate Happiness Roadshow podcast, send an email to Sandra at SandraMcknight.com.
Turn your smile on, you can't go wrong. You'll find that